Welcome to Center of Light Foundation. You are the foundation nation. We are the tribe. It's all about the vibe. Good to see you folks. Welcome to Center of Light Foundation. Had to do a couple of adjustments. Tonight, we're going to have some fun. I do want to get to some news, update what's happening with Roku. The Eagle has landed. Center of Light Foundation is now publishing, broadcasting to Roku. So if you're interested in Center of Light Foundation on Roku, which is cool, you have it at the convenience of your fingertips to sit on the couch and watch your TV. So what you do is you go to, hello Rena, hello KK, Bob says, wake up. So if you are interested in becoming a part of Center of Light Tribe on Roku, if you have it on your TV or if you have a device, simply what you do is you go to the home page, not the Roku homepage, just the home page where you have all the tiles. Netflix, Hulu, Vudu, ESPN, that page with all the tiles. You scroll down and look on the left-hand panel and you will see, I got my notes. I'm gonna be clear on this. All right, you will see streaming channels. So go to the home page with all the tiles, go down on the left-hand panel, you see streaming channels. You click it, then you look for a purple square, which is right about there. It's gonna say search channels. Type in Center of Light Foundation, add the channel, give me a 5-star review, please do. Why not? Tonight, hello Tamara, I'm not sure. First or second, is it Tamara or Tamara? So tonight is wake up your light shadow self. This is sort of the order of how things happen. Hello Kelly Bird. Please share, everyone, please share. Somewhere. So tonight is Center of Light Wake Up. Wake the up. Not really from that context or that perspective. This is about the waking up process. How does it happen? Life happens, good or bad, and then a spark ignites. You wake up to your light. Oh my goodness. What is this calling that is happening inside of me? Don't know what it is. I'm curious. I'm interested. It's got my attention like a carrot dangling in front of your nose. And some of us may leave it there for a little while. Eventually you're going to bite it. When you bite it, you wake up to your light. I am more special. Tamara, thank you. I am more special than I've always thought. Because of this simple flame that ignited inside of your heart. You first wake up to your light. Wow, I'm more divine than I thought. Really, you're more divine than you can actually think. So you wake up to the spark of divinity in you. And life gets really good really quick for quite a while. When my awakening started, someone whispered some metaphysical things in my ear, rather in my heart, via my ear. And I took to what he said very dear. It soon became very clear to me who I am and who I was. And I'm teeter-tottering on both sides of the line, right? Don't want to let go of the old, definitely interested in the new. Don't know how to let go of the old, but willing to. And then miracle after miracle after miracle after miracle after etc. ongoingly That day, that week, that month, that year, my life became this explosion of moving deeper into levels of consciousness. Hello, Dana. I began to move in deeper levels of consciousness. This is how my awakening happened. The wake-up process, because we are human, it usually takes something of a great magnitude that motivates us towards spirit. It did for me. I woke up to my light. In fact, I was awakened out of my sleep by God itself, the absolute presence. I woke up to my light. Wow, what is this? And you are going to feel special. And you deserve to feel special because you are special. Pat yourself on the back. Buy yourself a nice meal. Do whatever you need to do to celebrate your moment. It anchors the deal, I tell you. But after you live in your newly awakened state, and after all those beautiful miracles happen repeatedly, listen to me carefully, a greater miracle happens. What could that be? It isn't what you think. We first wake up to the light with all those ongoing miracles. And then another miracle comes along that supersedes and surpasses. Hello, my beautiful sister Kathy. She calls me her sexy brother. We ain't going there. Thank you, Kathy. I'm going to be coming home somewhere around Christmas time. Prepare yourself. Yusuf Khan, shadows. So the greater miracle than all those other miracles that happen when you woke up to your light, God's grace is everywhere, more so than when you wake up to your shadow, your demons, your darkness. Stop blaming a fictitious devil. It doesn't exist. Because if God is omnipresent, if God is omnipresent, there is no devil. Or God is the one behind it. Pick your poison, pick your nectar. It doesn't matter. My brother Yusuf says, couldn't sleep, so I jumped on to say hi. Blessings, my friend. The greater miracle than waking up every day to all those little miracles when you wake up to your light is waking up to your shadow. Keith, are you telling me there's a miracle in darkness? I am telling you, it's the greatest miracle. You can't find God in the light. The areas of your life that are already illumined and joyful, God has recognized. So there's no awakening to the light. You can only move to aspects of God that have not been awakened to is through the shadow. So it's the greater miracle. It's the grace that always wants to expand you into a beautiful Christ, Buddhic, Krishnic space of divinity. So waking up to the shadow is a lot more powerful because the first part of the journey is to lift you up. Hello, Randy Odimont. Bro, it's been since I was 15 years old since I seen you and your brother James. Wow. So you wake up to the shadow, the darkness, the evil, the fear in you. We all have to do this. If we don't move through the darkness of ourselves, we sit in darkness in ourselves. So we have to effort. We have to do some work called light work versus shadow work. And we eventually find our self. What is the self? Replace the word self with a more comfortable word, if that's what you need, called the soul. So the areas of joy that you have in your life, God is already being recognized. Is it not? Is God not the source, the generator, the divine principle of joy itself? I think you would agree the answer is yes. Healing, love, joy, peace, bliss, abundance, caring, all these wonderful attributes of God are present in your life when you're simply joyful in that aspect of your life. In any area of your life that you are not joyful, You can't see God just yet. Well, Keith, I don't like what these people are saying. Maybe no one's trying to convince you to like what someone is saying or doing, but it is a shadow of yourself. So how do I make sense of what you're trying to tell me? It's not about you ever liking anything. It's about you loving yourself through what is being presented to you via the outside world. What will this do? This will change the outside world because you're the one that's present in omnipresence, because now you recognize God in another aspect of your life. There is no way, it's literally impossible that you do not affect everyone else around you in said shift. The shadow and learning with the ego, the devil of you, the Satan of you, you little demon. To get out of screaming all the time, you have to move through the block, through the fear-based attribute that you have taken on, probably, or definitely since birth, probably from other experiences before your birth. You may not believe in reincarnation. It's okay. Reincarnation does not need you to believe in it for it to exist. Things reincarnate. That piece of wood that was burnt in a fire on a piece of furniture, there was one piece of wood. It's a beautiful piece of wood, burl or cedar. You took it off and you created something else with it, and you gave it to someone you love. So you've taken this piece of wood that was essentially going to be trash from this furniture, and you reincarnated it into another thing to give away to someone you love. It has been resurrected. Energy cannot be destroyed nor created. It can only be transformed. So in the light, we are transformed. In the shadow, we need to transform. In the self, transformation is blissful, ongoing, cosmic elation. It's called eternity. The living eternally with the Father, principle. The Son. Can't leave out the daughter. So who is that? It's the life water of you and me. It's the breath we take. It's the steps we take. It's everything we do to shake up the nonsense of the shadow self. All those things you want to blame on other people, all those things you want to shame, blame, and game on other people. I get it. It's a conscious choice to choose not to be around other people's folly. I understand. But when you go back home away from the folly of other people, point the finger at yourself and not them, because it's you. And Keith, how can that be me? It's you. It's how you feel about it, how you deal about it, how you think about it. And your influence continues to pump into the world. And the more you see it, your pumping of the world, it validates to you as it manifests every day, every night. Guess what? You're right. If that's your position, you have more shadow work to do. I'm not a believer in shadow work. I understand the term, and I'm using it tonight for a teaching tool, but it's been so glazed over and so spiritual, pseudo-spiritual. Everyone's using the word because it sounds cool. That's not my intention. But it definitely is a real process. The Master Jesus himself, or at least one of them, went to hell for 3 days and arose. He descended into hell. And if you're a follower of the Christ, you are not excluded. You have to follow the Master through hell to get to your divinity, which is yourself. Jesus said, follow me. Come here, you little sinner. You spiritual beginner. I love it. My brother Yusuf said, it's like potty training, it's like spiritual potty training. This never excludes Christianity. It always includes the divinity of Christianity. This never excludes anyone's walk and or talk. It's always about the goodness, the heart set that is found in any culture, any religion. We are of one race, the human race. So everyone has not necessarily a fragment of creator. You are a fractal of everlasting, never-ending, never-started divine light. That is the absolute truth. There is nothing else. Thank you all. Good night. So tonight is wake up. We wake up to the process of our light. I found a new path. And everyone starts to call you weird. Good. I'm glad you are weird. Weird is the new normal. Wake up to your light. Life is good for a while. And then Spirit says, now that you had a taste of what you are worth, let's see what you choose to move further deluge and dearth. Hell or high water. Son or daughter. Yes, you oughta. Then you purposefully find those things in your life that you are simply afraid of. And you climb the mountain. You will slide down a little bit. You climb the mountain to reach the fountain of youth. And it's only then will you find the proof that what I tell you is the truth. Don't be so aloof. Don't be afraid of anything. When you understand who walks beside you, at all times you will be afraid of nothing ever again. Hello, Melinda. It's about the stepping into the shadow that you will find your magical, delicious, sexy human self. Jesus is in there. Seek ye the kingdom of God within. Neither shall they say lo here nor lo there. The kingdom of God is within. I am in my Father's in me, and I am in you. So you have all this divine, delicious majesty that sits right here. You can't get out of the corner that you painted in, can you? It's not about arrogance. It's about, can you see that? The kingdom of God is within. Not only that, I, meaning Jesus' words, I am in my Father's in me, and I am in you. So you have a circle within a circle, and then you have Jesus encompassing that again. And this all lives right here. What lives inside of all of us creates worlds and universes. Universes, one verse song. One song. So knowing that the bedrock, at the grassroots level of who you are, is the essence of anything that can ever be or ever was. It always is. There is no beginning nor ending. We can't understand eternity. All right, going to take a song break. Going to come back. We're going to split up, if you will. Compartmentalize, better word. Shake hands with each one of these delicious possibilities of waking up to our light, our shadow. The evil is yours. This out of more so than the light in the self. I'm gonna use that word tonight on purpose. Somewhat tamed, buffered down. Hello, Elaine. Evil. What is evil? It's your own nonsense. Gone awry, gone astray, hurting people in every possible way. And you don't even know when you're doing it. So the shadow work is more important than the light work, because the light work comes. People who are light workers, their mission, their intuition of what they should do today or tomorrow, it just comes. The shadow work requires lifting weights. A 200-pound weight you're going to bench press, or whatever it is that's your struggle, or your limit, or your shelf, or your ceiling. That's where all the dealing needs to take place. So the most important point of this presentation that I didn't see coming till just a moment is the shadow. Is reckoning your business with a devil. You demon, you. Because once you get out of being afraid, it's over. You cannot unlearn, you cannot unenlighten yourself about once. Let's say there was a new color that came from another world, and somehow, whatever the analogy is, this color is called whatever. Wake up. It's called wake up. And you try to describe this color, but you can't really deliver it to the person you're trying to describe it to. I don't understand what that color is. But once they see that color, they go, ah, that's enlightenment. Aha, I understand what that means. So now they can never undo what they've learned about said wake up color. Strange analogy, but you get the point. So in this way, shadow work is where the expansion happens. And God's grace is in shadow work, I tell you. How is that? Well, truth, gracefully designed by the designer, is to move us forever into expansion mode and out of systematic belief. Because when we first start the spiritual awakening process, it looks like light work, and it is. But that can become systematic belief. Oh my goodness, right now life is so peachy. Fantastic. Until you move into the shadow work, which is gracefully designed to bust you wide open to the absolute truth, which is not pigeonholed nor bound. It's eternal, and it lives in you. Not only does it live in you, it's the you that's taking in my voice. The listener that you are in this moment is eternal. And that, my friend, you have no choice. Gotta be right back. Stick around. Tonight is wake up to your light, your shadow, and eventually yourself.
Making one of 100 million pieces, making one of each and every heart, giving one love like you really mean it, seeing one in each other every day. Loving one is how to get to heaven. Sharing one, the love that you are. Hearing one, that little voice inside. Being one with all the people. Teaching one all the children about love. Lives to make a difference, caring for one who really needs a friend, opening one to truth that they see, lifting one to dwell in the kingdom, dwell in the kingdom. Sending one only thoughts of happiness, receiving one love that's your gift. Think as one ends the separation, being
Welcome back to Center of Light Foundation. Tonight is Center of Light. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Because it's all about getting to the point of, I want to know what love is. You want to know God? You want to know love? You have to know yourself as it first. There is no other way around it. You can't understand the majesty until you understand the puny little self. Hello you, hello me, hello we. But truly, we are divinity. And we're working our way there. We're playing our way there, rather. I got some bathroom inspiration. Or I always get my thoughts. So how do we change ourselves and the world? Change the world, you change yourself, you change the world. They're interchangeable. I strongly support that you continue to, this is a sandwich. This is how you wake up the light and the dark in a sandwich. In between the sandwich is the meat and bread, is the meat and mayonnaise. So that would be the self. So you have one piece of bread, that's the light. You have another piece of bread, that's the shadow. And you sandwich these two together and it's prayer. It's namaskar. So how do you do that? Very simple. Not only look for God everywhere, even in a rock. God is the rock. It's everything. I am omnipresent. You look for God everywhere. The movement of spirit. Step back enough and watch life move by, and you will see the finger, the Holy Spirit of God, move in the world, even through the vexation and all the trouble and all the redonkulousness that the world has to lovingly give you, because it loves you. It wants to give you all of it, everything, the light and the shadow. So how do we change the world through light and shadow? You can bet that the person that's going to bump into you tomorrow at the supermarket, you're not going to like it. I'm not going to like it. It's not required for you to like it. It's required for us to understand it and what it means. Because not only should you see God everywhere, or look for it, seek and ye shall find. Find it in people who have wronged you. This is the whole mission, purpose of waking up to the divine truth. Don't look for the shadow you see in other people that you judge, because the same shadow lives in you, as to why you're using your will, your consciousness, to move through a mind that could be clear, backed and reinforced and supported by the divine, as it pulses in your life, to see nonsense, and therefore you get what you see and what you're looking for. So look for the good in all people, even if it's only this much compared to the ocean or the cesspool. Look for the good, stay in the good. People will folly all the time. That's called playing on in the human arena, playing on the earth. But we are moving to heaven on earth, to a state where we are divinely worth. Because remember, the judgment that you bring upon other people because of their darkness levels the playing field, and you are not out of the game just yet. So let's move into tonight's presentation a little deeper, not a little further. There is no further. There is no linear timeline. Yes, we live in one, and we should play it, and play it joyfully. Something is asking me to go inside, so I do. Welcome everyone to your life. It's eternal, we tell you. Who are we? We are all of you as a collective voice, and you have no choice but to listen, because your heart is now open and you will take it. Now, what we are hoping for you, as you take in the all of it, not only the light and the dark, the shadow or the spark, but the self. What is the self? Everywhere you go, you are, aren't you? And there you are. You see, this is your king or queendom. No matter what you choose, love song or the blues, barefoot or shoes, you are stepping forward a something. What is that something? It's everything and nothing all at the same time. But the end result will always be the same. The end result is you. And there you will find yourself. Have you found yourself yet? What are you looking for? Are you looking for the light? Are you looking for the delight? Are you looking for the fright? And the loss of sight will always keep you in fear, my dear, we tell you. We're not trying to sell you anything but the truth. And it doesn't cost anything. So the fact that it's free, have you found yourself liberated just yet? There's shadow work to do as it's deemed, and pseudo-spirituality. But it makes a heck of a point, a hell of a point, if you will, because that's where the shadow work lies, is in your own self-induced, self-created hell. Follow the master through hell. He was there for 3 days. Find yourself in your trouble, and on the double, you will find everything that every being in the universe is searching for. Maybe you should actually stop searching. What are you searching for? Search, but don't search. There's a balance between these two. Intend to search, but of course you don't know what you're searching for, because if you did, you would have already achieved illumination. Be willing to search basically is the platform you should launch yourself. I don't know what I'm searching for. Out here or in here, my dear, we tell you they're the exact same. Be willing to search. I don't know what I'm searching for. Go into meditation. God, what am I searching for? Jesus, what am I searching for? Grandma, what am I searching for? All that is good, what am I searching for? And you sit, and you sit. If you get the answer right away, you may get the answer right away. Likely not. The monkey wants to insert itself and tell you what it thinks you need to hear or want to hear. My dear, this is the shadow work that most of you need to engage in. Step back when you get the answer. Step back when you get the answer. Step even further back when you get the answer. Step ultimately back to its optimum to find the optimum answer to the question you have simply posed. Because ultimately, what's more important than the answer is the question. In the question is nothing and everything all at the same time. Any answer, even from God itself, which is forever changing and will never not change, it becomes finite. It becomes limited. Here is your answer. That's it. This is the absolute truth. That is the intention you should look for, intend for, but you will wake up again tomorrow and look for the absolute truth. So basically, these are stepping stones, signposts, landmarks, as you continue to dive further inward to the absolute truth, with which there is no absolute truth. The universe is always expanding. You are always expanding, whether you choose to believe and or know that or not. So when you find an absolute truth, it will serve you. It may be the flavor of the month kind of thing. Don't hunker down too hard on that. Do you want to be an eternal one, an ever-expanding one, along with your divine parent as a divine child? Keith comes back. Whew. Wow. That's never happened to me before, being thrown into that. So now we're going to break up or look at these three different models. Wake up, light. Life happens. And then something beautiful, magnanimous happens. And you get a divine glimpse, a spark. It could be the passing of a loved one, the breaking up of a relationship, the loss of a job. We're hard-headed beings. Sometimes it takes trouble for us to seek on the double what we think we are wanting, desiring, looking for. It's okay to look for something. Eventually, further down the road of your spiritual walk, you will realize you're not looking for anything but yourself. So what you can do is to start that by looking in the mirror at what you think is yourself and tell yourself, I love me. exactly how I am. Look in the mirror and say this to yourself. If you truly want to wake up, try this practice. And that I love me for who I am. And all of a sudden, this guy's going to show up. Are you sure about that? Well, I love me, well, only if I would not be like this or look this way or have this happen. You do this for 21 days, or just when you're brushing your teeth, putting on your deodorant so you don't stink spiritually so much, whatever it is you're doing. And when you affirmate, integrate, as you look in your eyes via your heartscape, by doing this particular, I love myself. Only if, when you begin this affirmation in the mirror and things become ever clearer, when you say said affirmation for however long it takes, that the only if shadow doesn't show up. I love myself. And there's no longer an only if you would or could. You've healed it quantum mechanically. Now, when you say, I love myself, in this new chapter, the shadow may show up and say, only if. It's a new only if. Do the same work. Do the same work. This is the process of every seeker throughout the entire universe in all its interdimensional planes. As above, so below, on forever it will go. Do the work. And eventually, the road less traveled, the journey, the finish line, which you're not trying to get to because you can't. That's like what I said earlier. You're trying to get to the absolute truth. It comes in gradations and landmarks because the absolute truth and the Holy Spirit of infinite expansion is always expanding. So you're really never, ever, ever, never, ever going to get there. If you, at your essence, your soul essence, which is God, if God could ever get there, God would shut down. God finally reaches its zenith, its climax, its final destination. Eventually it would shut down out of sheer boredom. So God, through us, turns within itself, churns, burns, yearns, forevermore. If you think there is more, there is always more. Have I reached my limit? I don't know, have you? If your dilemma is, I've reached the edge of the universe, my dilemma, then my question is, what lies beyond the outermost edge? Now your pattern starts all over again. Everything simply starts all over again. You can't reach the end, nor should you want to, nor should you try. Take it in small bites as you need. The greatest gift you can give to yourself is to look at your nonsense. Spend a day, once a week, sitting by yourself. Eyes closed, sure. Meditation is beautiful. I say, equally, sit in a chair or lay down with your eyes open. More powerfully, because meditation implies the light. Sitting with your eyes open implies boredom, and I got to sit with my thoughts. Meditation has some of the same effects, but there are different intentions. And you just sit there for an hour. Try sitting in a chair with your eyes open, looking at nothing but a picture of your Lord. I'd say get that out of the way for now. Just sit by yourself and see what comes through your monkey mind. An hour will seem like a year. Heck, stare at a clock and watch the minutes tick for 1 minute. It'll drive you bonkers. And in this place, you will see all the thoughts about yourself and other people and your life. And it belongs to you. It comes from within. it's yours. So the light and the shadow are two aspects of the same coin. But you will find more currency, more abundance. Your bank account, you can bank on that. Your trust fund. When you move into the shadow, follow the masters and walk your way through your own devised, self-induced, self-imprisoned hell. It's not fun, but I promise you, do it. It's going to happen anyway. You do it now, it shaves off miles of you being in that way. You keep putting it off, it's going to hit you harder. It will definitely make you smarter, but it's going to hit you harder. It's the times we're living in. The current is strong. You are as strong as the current. In fact, you are the current. But when you resist the current, which is the current of yourself, you will find yourself, beat down. No one's beating you down. It's not a devil, nor is it God punishing you for your quote sins. It's all a choice. So now how do we move into the self? All of your beautiful ideas about yourself, about humanity, about the world, Gaia, the planet itself, Gaia, humanity, and you on this orb. My neighbors are taking a shower. When you see the wholeness in these fractals of the place you actually dwell, you will begin to move into heavenly existence versus hell. You will start to find yourself as the balanced one without blaming, shaming, or gaming other people. I don't have to learn, I don't have to like what certain person has done to me. I don't have to like it at all. But you have to love the grace that it's giving you through it. You see, if God didn't like that very person that did that very thing that you do, it wouldn't exist. If God didn't like a something, how could it ever have been created? God has foresight. God has hindsight. God has sight itself. So if God doesn't like a something, it would never have been birthed. This is all human, monkey-minded ideals. So when we likewise use the shadow of other people, more so ourself, to help us find the light, then we find ourself. You become illumined to the absolute truth. Well, Keith, I know the truth. You talk about it all the time. Other teachers talk about it. It's one thing to know the truth. It's another thing to embodiment in a conscious way. I'm working. I'm playing in the garden. I'm going to take another song break. Going to come back and close off this presentation with some reading from my recent bestseller, Homecoming: Crossing the Bridge to the Soul, which is going to bring all this together as far as tonight's presentation about waking up to the light. Is the first process that happens. You wake up to the light of yourself out of something that's been just boring this whole time. Then you begin to wake up to the real grace of God, which is the shadow. I love you so much. I want you to practice, work through this issue you've been having for so long. Hello, Tanya. For so long, I'm going to give you a whole bunch of trouble. Chew on that double bubble gum for a little while. Then you realize it's lost its flavor. Then you start searching for something new. It is more beneficial for you to search for the shadows in your life and the darkness that you think exists in other people and exempt yourself from, than to work on the light. Because the light you already are, God doesn't need illumination in that aspect, because you already have joy. Joy is evidence of the presence of God. Where there is no joy is where the work lies. Don't lie to yourself. Dive into your problems. Spend your time alone. You can never love yourself until you're by yourself. Dive into your nonsense. Keith, it's so scary. Because it's supposed to be scary. You're not going to expand your spiritual body mass, your spiritual consciousness mass, your awareness mass, until you go into the realm of hell that wants to kick your ass so you can become the illumined one in it and rise like the phoenix above it. When push comes to shove it, then you become illumined as the Buddha, as the Christ, as the Krishna, as anything that can mean anything at all, ever, beyond anything ever. That's the endeavor. It's like, it's now or never. Come hold me tight. Be with my darling. Be mine tonight. For tomorrow may be too late. It's now or never. Your love won't wait. Stick around, gonna be right back with the final episode of Central Light Foundation. Wake up, dear Lord, wake up to your light. Your light is, you've already woken up to it. The shadow is waiting, and so is the self. Be right back. Yeah, sexy human souls, welcome back to Center of Light. I want to tell you that something is coming to this earth. you are on the earth. Something is coming to all of us, whether we are on the earth or not. A little easier on the other side. It's called a great awakening. Wake up. We wake up from the shadow to find the self, because the light is already present. No work is necessary. God is the presence of joy. Joy is the evidence of the presence of God. So where we're happy, God is simply recognized. So really, this is really about, can we sustain ourselves to be a part of this unfoldment process on the earth, the heaven on earth prophecy. Hello, Angie Adams on YouTubeage. She says, nice singing. Oh, I'm sorry, it doesn't matter. Hello, girl. I do see a troll with some crap on YouTube, but that's all right. Trolls have an existence. Hello, troll. So tonight is wake up, light. We've woken up. Shadow, waking up to do self. There's nothing else to be done. I'm going to share with you something from my most recent bestseller about the whole process that I went through of falling into the light, shadow, and then coming into my own. Tonight has been Center of Light. Wake up. I'm still waking up. We wake up every day from a night's sleep, a night's slumber, our human slumber. Here we go. This is my dialogue with Spirit all those years ago. And Spirit starts off this chapter. I'm trying to think of the name of it. It's been so many years. Something divinity. How are you feeling today, Keith? And I say, pretty good, but there are some pretty intense things going on with me. Remember, my waking up to the light was all those years ago when I had that experience. How are you feeling today, Keith? Pretty good, but there's some pretty intense things going on within me. Sounds like a great chapter. And you're in the perfect space to write it. And I say, or ask, what shall I write about this time? Spirit says, why not tell me more about your life from your perspective? Share with your readers or listeners how you've acquired the awareness that enabled you to write this book. After that, I shall write one final chapter. And I say, sounds good to me. So this is from my perspective. For most of my life up until 1992, I was rebellious and lost. I didn't really give a damn about anything. I wanted what I wanted when I wanted it, and didn't really matter how I got it. But after the girl I was with and I broke up, I began to change. At the same time, I was falling apart. I began to change the light, waking up. At the same time, I was falling apart. I was thrown into the darkness and didn't know how to make sense of it. I somehow knew that in order for me to survive, I would have to seek Spirit. It's hard to find the words to explain what it felt like when that finally hit me, but I'll try. Everything was dark, shadow work. Everything was dark. I was desperately alone, utterly depressed, and suffering from excruciating heart pangs all the time. Looking back, I don't remember actually deciding to pray, but one day I just found myself doing it. Not once, but several times. The next day, same thing. And for every day thereafter, the prayer I remember saying most was, God, I really need your help. Many people may say, God, I really need your help. Somehow I fortunately found a reality disposition that I really meant it. Not that you don't really mean it. I found a level of depth that rang the cosmic bell that brought me lunch, my sustenance, to my table. It's hard to find the words, but I will try. Everything was dark. I was desperately alone, utterly depressed, and suffering from excruciating heart pangs all the time. Looking back, I don't remember actually wanting to pray. I did say that, so let me get through that versus reading it again. Everything is always so small. One night, after my band's rehearsal, the guys were going over to Chris's house. They never asked me to join them before because they knew I was not really into that new age stuff that they were into. But that night, for some reason, I was invited to come along. I said, sure, thinking that all we were going to do is just hang out and party. Boy, was I wrong. No sooner had we sat down in Chris's little upstairs room than my bandmates and one other friend who joined us began to talk about that weird stuff. I just sat there drinking my drink, listening to them go at it, but eventually my curiosity was piqued because the things my friend Mike was saying. Mike was my mentor. Hello, Jody. Because, let me find my place. But eventually my curiosity was piqued because the things my friend Mike was saying seemed so relevant to what I was going through. This is so phenomenal. At least it was for me when this actually happened. After a few minutes, Mike was kind of the mentor of the group. This boy. My God. So I asked Mike, after a few minutes, if he could interpret a dream I had had, in which Jesus appeared to me, and this is in my Catholic days, not knowing anything, in which Jesus appeared to me and told me the word Yam 3 times. Mike asked me if there had been more to my experience, and if so, would I share it? I said, sure. I said, Mike, it was really weird. In what way, he asked. Jesus seemed to be behind me and up towards the ceiling, but I could see him perfectly. At the same time, I could feel myself floating up there too. Remember, I'm Catholic. All that stuff, I wanted no part of that. But I didn't want any part of that, so I somehow made myself wake up. And Mike says, is that it? And I say, yep, that's it. And then he says, Guy, that is so cool. Mike decides he's going to get up and walk to a bookshelf and pull out a book. And he brought it back to where we were sitting. He opened the book to show me the meaning of Yam, Y-A-M, like yam for us Southerners. Yam. It's the sound of the heart. Ya, Yam. The sound of the spiritual heart, the heart chakra. And his gesture touched me to the core. I've never heard of such a thing. And it was validated before my very eyes. Spread my heart open. And I knew in my heart of hearts, there was no turning back. I was woken up to the light. From that evening on, whenever I was feeling down about my lost relationship, I called my friend Mike and found much comfort in his words. Not only did he help me see things in a more realistic light, he also had an uncanny way of getting me to open myself up so that for the very first time, Almighty Lord, through the awakening of the light and the shadow, I could actually see myself. Back to the reading. One day he asked me, Keith, without judgment, tell me, do you like your life? And I said, hell no. His next question was, this one's the kicker. What are you willing to do to have peace? And I told him anything. At this point, I'm willing to try just about anything. Then prepare yourself for miracles, he said. Hello, Kelly Bauman. He said, prepare yourself for miracles. The miracles I told you about early in this presentation when we talked about the light, waking up to the light. I went through the gradation of miracles until the shadow work comes. Prepare yourself for miracles, he said. For the next hour or so, he laid out some principles I could begin to work with. But at the same time, he suggested, as I said earlier, never claim you have found the truth. The truth changes daily because God is always infinitely changing. He suggested I not believe a word he said. Just let the manifestations speak for themselves. I had no idea what he meant. Even so, that very day, that week, that month, that year, as I began to put all these new ideas into practice, I could see the little miracles that Mike had told me would take place if I kept to I'm willing to do anything intention. But though everything I learned felt right, every once in a while, some part of me put up resistance. Hello, Andrea. I was awakened to my light. And as the light, you have no choice but to see the shadow. I am the observer, and I see the nonsense. So you wake up to the light, and then you see the nonsense. I kept... But even though everything I was learning felt right, every once in a while, some part of me put up resistance, even though I was integrating deeper levels of truth. You may ask why. 4 reasons. This is an overview of tonight's presentation, which is wake up. The process. You will wake up to the epiphanies in your life, and that light will show you the shadows where the work lies, and then you illumine to yourself. This is the dance for any Jesus. Everyone goes through it. Everyone without exception. You can be mad. You can blame other people. It doesn't matter, because you will do this dance every 26,000 years until you light your britches on fire. Britches, I'm looking for my torch. With the desire to move higher. There is no other way. Continuing on. The 4 reasons. Why did I put up resistance? I knew all those years ago, I knew, number 1, Jody says, we're siblings. She had the same experiences. Why did I put up resistance, you may ask? 4 reasons. I knew that everything I thought I knew would change. You are going to have to die. Be reborn and resurrect yourself from the early epiphanies of the light to the shadow to become a full-fledged soul, fully illuminating the earth. Number 1, I knew that everything I thought I knew would have to change. Number 2, I knew that I would have to take responsibility for the mess I have made of my life. Hello, shadow. I love it so much. It's the way. Number 3, I knew that because of my unresolved emotional issues, this is going to sting you where you don't want to be stung. That's the reason. It's supposed to sting you where you don't want to be stung. Number 3. I knew that because of my unresolved emotional issues doesn't trivialize nor desecrate what you went through. Irregardless, the truth is you have an issue to move through. I knew that because of my unresolved emotional issues, my life was sure to get worse before it got any better. Oh my God. I know that's got a sting. It stung the living God knows what out of me, into me. Like the Scorpions from Germany says, love at first sting. It's love at first sting. And number 4, here's the real kicker. I was frightened because I didn't want my new I am God attitude to piss God off. But I was determined to change no matter what it took. I begin to meditate daily, as my friend Mike said to do. I can honestly say that the more I practice meditation, the more my life improved. That alone has helped me to stop feeling like a victim and to live more in harmony with God. Another thing that Mike suggested I do is to train my God-given senses to take in everything around me. And to my astonishment, I noticed that whenever I consciously engaged with one of my five senses, my sixth sense would make itself known to me. Before long, intuition became an everyday part of my life. Let's just say that if it weren't for my friend Mike's lessons and the support I've got from all my soul brothers, Chris, Jeff, and those people I'm describing, I can't imagine what my life would be like now. I thank them daily in my prayers. Nowadays, I think it's safe to say that I'm a changed man. This was 1990, God knows what, early 1990s. Nowadays, I think it's safe to say I'm a changed man. I seem to be able to use what I've learned at any moment to move through whatever I'm facing. The shadow work. Occasionally, I revert to my old ways and make things happen that I really wish I hadn't. Whenever such unconscious creations do show up, I'm lucky in the sense that I can always resort to all the knowledge I gotten beginning that night at Chris's house. One very important thing I've learned is how to take responsibility for whatever I do and for whatever happens. And with that has come excitement, because I now finally get that I can have any and everything I want if I keep on cleaning up my life. To stay on task, oh my God. If you want change, utter this to yourself. Say it out loud, proud. To stay on task, I daily ask God to open my heart and to keep reminding me that I can create heaven within me anytime I choose. Ever since I've realized that I am God, we are God, everything is God, God is omnipresent, I've experienced moments most people would call miraculous. I've even noticed that when I take the time to recognize God in others, as I talked about earlier, my ego that has always separated me from them vanishes, and better relationships are the result. Maybe you are in the same place now that I found myself in years ago, confused, angry, and without direction. If so, my first suggestion is to do as the title of this chapter says, look within. Take an inventory of how you feel about yourself and begin to change how the choices you have made affected not only yourself but others as well. When you begin to assume full responsibility for everything that happens to you, you will find yourself becoming imbued with the same kind of power I have found, and you will be able to consciously create your own life as I am now able to do. Here's something else for all of you to try. When you're around other people, don't go into the blame, shame, or game and look for the faults, because that's what you're going to see. Seek and you shall find. When you're around other people, practice expanding your awareness outward. All you have to do is put your God-given senses to work, and you will begin to discover, as I did, the good in all things. Begin to feel, begin to touch, begin to see, begin to listen, begin to know, begin to be. Begin. Lastly, we must all get back to basics. To help you do that, I now offer three tenets that have been and still are my spirituality. Tenet number one, the all-knowing tenet. If turning inward unites me with God, higher self, then it makes sense to me that omniscience, peace, is my natural state. Number two, the all-powerful tenet. If turning inward unites me with God, seek ye the kingdom within, then it makes sense to me that omnipotence, love, power is my natural state. Number 3, the all-pervading tenet. If turning inward unites me with God, then it makes sense to me that omnipresence, liberation, nothing confines me. I don't want to create boundaries. Don't create boundaries. You can choose not to. I don't have boundaries. I don't live in boundaries. I live in consciousness. And when something comes along that should or could or would have convinced me I need a boundary, I use the foundry and the mechanics of my God-given self to say this is not true. The all-pervading tenet, if turning inward unites me with God, then it makes sense to me that omnipresence, the omniscience, omnipresent, omnipotent God is everywhere. It's my natural state. The gift God has given to me, I want to share with you. It has given me great pleasure of sharing with you my prophetic vision of heaven and earth. And finally, the closing of tonight's presentation, which is wake up to your light, if you have not yet, but you probably have. Anytime you had an epiphany, and becoming the light and the observer, you will step back and you will begin to see the shadows of yourself. And it will look like other people. When you see the shadows in other people, that's where your work lies. And that's the truth. Lies versus the truth. And when you do the work and follow the Master Christ through hell to get to heaven, then you become the self. So in closing, from the divine principle or homecoming crossing the bridge to the soul, you can put support center, everything's backwards. Use this QR code to find my creations, my books, ebooks, very cheap, $2 I believe. Bestsellers, my coffee mugs, my sports bras, my shirts, sweatpants. Or you can also donate to Center of Light Foundation to feed people. Food is first, shelter is second, education is third. So how do we move in our waking up process from the light into the shadows where we can gain more light into the absolute eternal self? From homecoming crossing the bridge to the soul. What is this chapter called? It's called Realizing God. What I couldn't realize earlier. Wendy, hello Wendy. She says, my ex cut me down today, brought me down. Yes, I need God to remind me of my worth. I'm reminding you of your worth. No matter what, it's about you claiming what you know that is for you. It's just simply a contrast of what you're worth. In fact, you're not worth anything. None of us are worth anything. Worth everything. We are the everything and the nothing. Isn't that something? So in closing, for tonight's presentation, how do we wake up? This is beautiful. I got this in a meditation. How to wake up from the light, the miracles that begin to happen at the onset. Then we'll get submersed and hunkered in to wanting to grow and expand. We get into the shadow, the stank. That's when you need your ass spanked. Then we move to the self. From my bestseller, Spirit Starts Off. This will be my final transmission in our book. But before I go, I shall leave you with a guide for you to follow so that you will be able to reach your destination, which there is no destination, but it makes sense to us that there's a point that we're trying to get to. And Spirit continues, all who seek divinity of any sort, Christianity, Buddhism, whatever it is you way, no way, just of any sort to get to the ultimate goal of eternity. All who seek divinity must live a life free of wanting, for that is the source and cause of your spiritual bondage. As long as one is constantly wanting, one will only fall farther away from the selflessness of grace and into the selfishness of ego. The ego mind is the cloth that veils consciousness. Your wants are its threads. But when you give up your constant state of wanting, the ego threads will fall away and the cloth will disappear, revealing your true nature. Oh my God. the pure, genuine self that is the soul. God realization will happen when you finally free yourself from the brain, the senses, the mind, the wanter. Once you break out of your finite little prison of individuality, you will become conscious, enlightened, one with the cosmic power. Thus will you reach God. Now, through all this even or odd, we all have the opportunity to not only wake up to the light of and the joyousness of who we are, no matter whether you like it or not. This guy is coming. Wherever you are in your spiritual development or undevelopment, this guy is coming. And the intention between both of these is this. God's grace does exist in trouble. You have to look for it. Seek and ye shall find. What are you trying to find? You're not trying to find anything, really, except yourself. And how do you do that? You look at everything from an observer point of view. The people who upset you, the people who delight you, the people who delight you are no different from those who upset you. In fact, the people who upset you will understand the level of delight even more. And that will beset you. That will unfold you. And Spirit will behold you into a new space. And then you will find yourself as the grace of you. 3 components to your life. Wake up, dig into your crap, do what you need to do. Find yourself sitting in the divine bosom and on your Creator's lap. Peace, love, and you are the light, and you're beyond that. You're the dark, and you're beyond that. And you're even beyond the self. These are only ideas, models, and or terms, so we can come to terms with what we think things are. And no matter what, coming to any terms will never describe the true self that you are. Can you take that in? The mind can't. Oh my God, is this so exponentially infinite? We can't even begin to grasp it. This is like your greatest day of ecstasy and bliss times pi, infinity. Maybe I can digest even times 100 for now. Well, get to stepping, get to prepping. 2023 is coming, and it's going to be a year of absolute noise. Likewise, you can use said noise, the shadow, to hoist you into yourself, which is the cyclical nature of the Trinity, is the light. The louder the noise of the world gets, the quieter you fall into the salvation. Center of Light Foundation. You're the tribe. You're the nation. Peace, love, and light. See you soon.